Nick J. Francis channel once again. Arsenal 3, Southampton 1. And again, it's just more dramatic than it needs to be. This is the second time a team that's just come up from the Championship has made the game more dramatic than it needs to be. It doesn't need to be this way. Like, it's a game of two halves, as we always say. We had no goals in the first half, 4 goals in the second half. And, we'll talk about it real quick. In the first half, I said Saka, Sterling, playing what looked like to me walking football. It was like watching the old age pensioners play at Power League. It was walking football. Do you know what I'm saying? It didn't look intense. It was like, if there's a goal opportunity there, I guess I'll kick it in the net, but I'm not going to take initiative and make that goal happen. It was all a bit, we took Southampton too lightly, to be honest with you. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. We had 11 shots and 1 on target, and that 1 on target was just speculative from Partey, and we know his conversion rate is not great. Do you know what I'm saying? From outside the box, and somehow that shot injured Ramsdale, but whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? At halftime, I was saying we need to make changes. What we did against Leicester is we let them make their changes in style and in strategy. We were winning 2-0 up against Leicester, and they were the proactive ones to make their changes before we did. And we did the same thing today. Cameron Archer coming on for an injured Ross Stewart. Cameron Archer sets them 1-0 up. And then Arsenal say, okay, cool, okay, fine. Look, let's take the game seriously. Then they take the game seriously. And throughout the game, I thought Havertz was absolutely brilliant. I thought Jorginho and Partey were both brilliant in the first half as well. I think Jorginho was, it was a slow game in the first half, and so that played into Jorginho's hands, but I do want to give him a shout out because I do think he was fantastic. Havertz, for me, was the most consistent player. Once we went 1-0 down, Bukayo Saka went Super Saiyan, turned on, focused, 2 assists, back-to-back. The first for Havertz. Havertz runs in, scores his goal. The second, an unbelievable cross, never offside, over for Martinelli. Martinelli comes on, and Trossard come on for Jesus and Sterling, and immediately the lift. Immediately, when Jesus and Sterling go off, there's a clear difference in not necessarily technical ability, because I don't think that, Trossard is doing things that Jesus can't do. And a lot of the stuff, apart from the legs, obviously Sterling's a little bit older, but apart from the legs, I don't think Martinelli's doing stuff that Sterling can't do. I don't think it's a gap of technical ability, but it's a gap of intention and desire. When we're going into the summer transfer window next year and we're looking at the kind of players we're going to bring in, we need to be bringing in the right profile. We can't look at someone like Sterling and say, he's got this amount of goals, this amount of assists, he's got this many trophies, he's the right player, because it might not work that way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of our best performers are players that haven't necessarily got that experience of doing it. What's the desire and the work rate? And Martinelli will always outwork Raheem Sterling, always. So if it's a slow game, you'd expect Sterling to be able to get a goal or do something. And he didn't play terribly, but the level of work rate and desire, like when their right back had Martinelli pressing him in the second half, he looked surprised. Like he didn't realise that this is how football was played, because that never happened in the first half. So Saka goes and gets himself 2 assists and 1 goal. And for me, he has to be the man of the match, the absolute star of the show. He's on a run of 7 assists in 7 games or something ridiculous like that. He's looking at breaking the record of most consecutive league games with assists in. The guy's unplayable. The guy's unplayable. Even when he's not really doing a lot of the fancy stuff, it don't matter. I think Trossard was brilliant. I think Trossard was very, very good today. When he came on, a lot of the stuff that he did was really, really impactful. The ball was sticking with him. But for me, I want to give a shout out. This today, I know Saka's going to get all the plaudits because of the 2 assists and the goal, but I just think Kai Havertz, like I say, Saka started the game slow, let's be real, and he grew into the game and went and made a mark on the game. Havertz didn't have to grow into the game. Havertz was playing with the same level of intensity in the 95th minute that he was playing with in the 5th minute. He's a consummate professional. He's really growing into his Arsenal career. He's playing very similar, but there used to be a big difference. He'd play in the 8 or he'd play in the 10, and it looked terrible compared to when he played in the 9. Today, he played with 2 strikers almost. He dropped into the midfield, and there was no drop-off in his performance. No matter what part of the pitch he was in, he was absolutely fantastic. And for me, I want to give him man of the match, but I guess the 2 assists and the goal make it the clear difference. But the level of performance in the second half, when these guys come on and just give us a lift of energy, is crazy. You would never think that that's going to make that much of a difference, but it did. And it was important. Man City had a bit of a scary day as well, getting by Fulham 3-2, and Liverpool won as well. So it's really, really important that we kept that pressure on them. You know what I mean? So we have to stay up there and stay competitive with them, and we were able to do that today, and we nearly let it slip. So there's too many times when we're letting the other team make their decision first, and then we're being counterintuitive kind of thing. Like we're letting them make their decision, and then we're responding. We can't just be responding all the time. We've got to be the people that's going in and setting pace and making it happen. Do you know what I'm saying? But overall, listen, 3-1, you can't complain about that result. There was a lot of good performances all over the pitch. I thought Calafiori was very good. I thought Marino was good when he came on. Positionally, could be a little bit better, but with him and Declan Rice in that midfield, when everyone's fully fit, with him and Declan Rice in that midfield, it's going to be peak for people because they're not really going to win that many battles. I'm really excited to see that, them two against teams like Newcastle, how they play against Liverpool. Those two are going to be crucial when we play Liverpool, in my opinion, because of the way that Gravenberch has been playing and the way that, that Liverpool don't have quite a settled midfield yet. So that's going to be really important. But overall, really, really solid performance. Got the 3 points. Enjoyable game to watch. In typical Arsenal fashion, man had to make it more dramatic than it really needed to be. But it is what it is. We got the performance over the line. Man can't really complain about that. Saka, once again, the star of the show, and the creativity we're going to have and the chance creation we're going to have when we have Saka and Ødegaard both in there. If we could partner Havertz with a more clinical striker going into the summer, that 4-4-2, that could be a massive problem for teams.